So let's have a look at this institutional workspace in a little bit more detail, otherwise known as Atlas. If you click on the Atlas icon here above, it will take you to the Atlas dashboard. You'll see here that you are a part of the MMR 2014 to 2016 Electronic Portfolio Workspace. On the bottom pane, you'll also find a My Submissions folder. Here, you'll be able to view your actual Year 1 electronic portfolio submission. If you recall earlier, you were prompted to automatically submit your electronic portfolio to this workspace when you first accessed your electronic portfolio. This is the reason why you're able to see this electronic portfolio. You didn't have to actually manually submit it. Therefore, your assessor will be able to give you ongoing feedback throughout the semester. Here you'll find this percentage value. This percentage value derives from the tracking feature that you use throughout the semester. This here is the grade that your assessor has given you for the semester. It will either be a pass or a fail. This little star symbol here basically tells you that new or updated grades have been given. This section here contains any feedback or comments that the assessor has given you. It might include particular documents such as your assessment criteria that you can open up and have a look, where you went well or where you needed to improve. If we look at the electronic portfolio workspace in a little bit more detail, I can click this arrow here and it'll take me to the workspace. You can see here that you are currently viewing the MMR Year 2 electronic portfolio. You can see here that this assignment has been paused. In other words, you will not be able to submit any assignments into this folder until your PCP year commences. So click on the Year 1 electronic portfolio and you'll be able to find your submission. You'll also again see the tracking feature, your grade, and the feedback comments on this right-hand side pane. You also have the option of removing your submission. Keep in mind that it's probably not necessary to remove the submission. If you feel that you've made a mistake in your electronic portfolio, simply editing it on your PebblePad Plus will automatically update it live on the workspace. So there's no need for you to actually physically remove this electronic portfolio. If I go along to the resources section, you'll see that you have two different resources here. You have the Year 1 electronic portfolio and the Year 2 electronic portfolio. Keep in mind that you will not be able to access this until the commencement of your PCP year. As I move along to the community, this section basically includes the names and the email addresses of all those in your workspace. So in other words, all of your fellow peer members. You also have here links to the managers of the workspace. So you can see here Caroline Wright and myself. As I move along to the Conversations tab, this section here is basically a place for you to communicate with your fellow peers. If you have any questions with regards to a particular form, you can post it here. So for example, somebody has posted help with evaluation learning form. If I click on this conversation, there's some content here. I can simply post a reply. And click save. So you can see here there's a communal learning environment. You can also save this conversation to your asset store. So I can do this by selecting Save Summary to my asset store. You have the option of either individually selecting the conversations or selecting all comments. So I'll select all comments for demonstration purposes, and that will highlight all the comments in this conversation. I then click on Save Selected Comments, and I'll give it a title. So conversation, for example, and click on Save. Now, if I go back to my Pebble Plus, you'll be able to see that this conversation post has been saved to my assets store. I can either include this in my electronic portfolio or just leave it for my own record purposes. But if I do decide to include it in my electronic portfolio, don't forget to also submit a justification of evidence form for that conversation post. So an example of where I'd probably include it is in the additional evidence of learning section. So I type in here conversation, highlight it, and link it to the conversation post. And again, don't forget to fill in the justification of evidence for including that conversation post above.